Now you may have caught a glimpse of these beasts on your last trip to the chemist's, lending a hand behind the counter. These machines can count pills, dispense them into vials, cap the vials, and even label them. So, when it comes to handling a heavy workload, these robotic dispensers are just what the doctor ordered. Input the prescription data, and the robotic helper in this dispenser machine goes to work. It counts, bottles and labels pills in just 35 seconds, a fraction of the time it would take a human to do it. Making one starts with the retainer disc for the vial capping system. Computerized tools carve slots for the capping mechanisms. With an electronic probe, they measure the slots. More tools sculpt a rough plastic blank, transforming it into a platform for the pill vial during capping. The part takes shape in just minutes. A technician now installs 2 computers in the dispenser frame. One computer will interface with the robotic system. The other will operate the drug inventory. A rack that holds a power strip above the computers is then installed. And a battery is lowered into place beside the computers and attached to the frame. This battery will provide power backup in the event of a power cut. Next, the controls for the robotic arm are incorporated. They're inserted into the frame and plugged in. Another member of the team assembles plastic brackets to an aluminium manifold. These brackets will hold cells filled with pills. The manifold will send dispensing information to the cells. It will also deliver bursts of air to move the pills through them and into the prescription vials. The brackets are now fixed to the manifold securely with screws. A long row of circuit boards is then attached to the manifold. These circuit boards will send data between the cells and the dispensing computer. A ribbon cable is connected to the computer board circuitry. This cable will be linked to 18 other manifolds in the dispensing machine. They're now ready to mount all the manifolds to a large metal frame. A technician slides the ends of each manifold into slots in the rack. She stacks up the cell manifolds, creating a bank of 18. She then attaches plastic dividers to the brackets. This creates compartments to hold the actual pill cells. The dividers also strengthen the entire dispensing machine structure. Another technician now installs a vertical rail that's equipped with the robotic arm. He fits the bottom of the rail into the grooves of a horizontal track and attaches the top of the rail to an upper track. Then, he connects one end of a long pole called a link shaft to the robot and the other end to the top track. This shaft moves the robotic arm horizontally to collect pills in a vial as needed. Once installed, the shaft is tested to confirm that it moves the arm along the track with no obstructions. The robotic arm is then programmed to zip up, down and around in order to collect the pills during dispensing. Rubber flaps are attached to the back of all the pill compartments. They'll absorb the sound of the equipment to keep the noise level down. Full tanks of compressed air are fitted to the grid. The compressed air will be pumped through the manifolds to move the pills through the cells. A technician now assembles the exception carousel. It'll capture tablets that haven't been perfectly dispensed, vials that have too many or too few pills in them, or haven't been correctly labeled or capped. He inserts the motor assembly in the center cavity and snaps the top into place. A metal framework is then screwed to the assembly, and the technician confirms that it spins freely within its housing. He then scans the serial number for tracking purposes. 80 man-hours goes into making each machine. It's a long and complicated process. The robotic dispenser is nearly complete. The next step is for a technician to mount the newly assembled carousel into the center of the machine. He attaches the touchscreen controls above the carousel, and he wires all the operations to it. It's now time to assemble the labeling system for the pill vials. The first component is the device that spins the vials as the labels are applied. It's wired to a motor and then placed in the housing. A sensor that will detect the presence of a vial is connected. The technician then attaches the printer to a computer circuit board and then tucks the printer into the housing. It's now time to test the unit. A vial is loaded and the labeler takes it for a spin. The system unwinds the paper and prints the prescription information on it. Then, small protruding rubber arms wrap the sticky label around the spinning vial. Once the unit has met company standards, it's installed in the medication dispenser. It's positioned at the bottom at the front of the machine's base. 2 vial storage units are then mounted above the labeler. One is for smaller vials and the other is for larger ones. There are mechanical levers inside each unit for holding vials until they're needed for labeling and filling. When called upon, they'll ride these plastic chutes to the printer. The capper that twists the tops onto the vials is installed beside the vial storage and delivery system. These are the drop-off bins, where the completed prescriptions end up. Another technician encases the control screen and the carousel below it with a plastic frame. This trims and finishes these components. He fits an emergency stop button to the switch above the control screen. To protect the sensitive electronics, they encase the entire machine in a sturdy plastic cabinet surround. Now, the finished machine has to be calibrated so that it knows what tablets it's dispensing and where. He programs the number of pills to be counted and the amount of air pressure that will be needed to propel them through the throat of the cell, where sensors do the actual counting. After each pill cell has been programmed, a technician clicks it into place in its slot at the back of the dispenser. There are up to 228 of these cells, and they'll hold the most commonly dispensed medications at the pharmacy. Each cell has been programmed to dispense a particular pill. He now scans the barcodes on each cell to log the pill inventory. The barcode is the serial number for the cell. This robotic medication dispenser is now ready to be put to the test. Pill vials are loaded into the storage compartments at the front, and caps are placed into the compartment beside the vials. Then, moving around to the back, pills are loaded into some of the cells. For the purpose of this test, the pills are plastic copies. Sensors in the cells automatically count the pills that are loaded. Then, the technician inputs the test prescription. A vial drops and the printer labels it. The robotic arm then takes the vial to the correct cell, where it rotates and slides sideways to deliver the pill vial to the capping operation. A second robotic arm then presses and twists the cap onto the vial. And the prescription is now filled. From labeling to dispensing to capping, this process has taken just a few seconds. And in your local chemist, this robotic medication dispenser should prove to be, well, indispensable. I wonder if it'll dispense a spoonful of sugar though.